It was a sunny day in a small town, where the birds' songs blended with the wind's murmur through the trees. In a house, a little girl named Sofia was getting ready for her first day of school. With her new backpack and a big smile, she ran out, ready to discover a world full of possibilities. However, as days passed, Sofia began to feel the pressure to be perfect in everything she did. The laughter and joy of her first day gradually faded, replaced by anxiety and comparisons with her classmates. One day, while walking alone in the park, she saw a strong tree that stood firm despite the storms. At that moment, she understood that happiness was not the absence of problems but the ability to flourish despite them. Today, we will explore the theme of happiness, that universal pursuit we all share. Happiness is not just a destination. It's a journey filled with learning and personal discoveries. Just as Sofia learned to find her inner strength, we too can learn to cultivate our own happiness by facing our fears and embracing our imperfections. True happiness resides in simple moments, in authentic connections, and in self-love. So, join me on this journey toward happiness, where each step will bring us closer to understanding what it truly means to be happy. Remember, happiness is not a distant destination. It's here, in the present, waiting to be discovered in every corner of our lives. Human connections are bridges that bind us, and each kind gesture is a brick that strengthens those ties. In moments of silence, the wind's whisper invites us to appreciate the beauty of simplicity. Gratitude acts like water that nurtures our inner garden, allowing moments of happiness to bloom. At the end of the day, each experience becomes a shining star in our personal sky. Cultivating happiness means embracing life with love and joy, creating a journey full of light and meaning. Thus, each day transforms into a celebration of life itself. Happiness is like a ray of sunshine peeking through curtains at dawn, warm and unexpected. It's a corner where time suspends, where the soul breathes and feels light. It isn't measured by possessions, but by moments slipping through our fingers, like water. Happiness is a soft melody that plays without sound, a vibration felt more than heard. It's the embrace of a quiet day, the whisper of a dream fulfilled without haste. It's like the sea, vast and deep, but as calm as waves kissing the shore. It's not a destination, it's a path walked effortlessly, enjoying each step. Happiness is a flower blooming in the unexpected, not waiting to be seen. It's the refuge when the world is noisy, the peace amidst the storm. It's a space within us where we can simply rest. Happiness never asks permission. It just arrives and stays, like the air we breathe without thinking. Fleeting happiness is like the spark of a match, brief and radiant, but it fades with a sigh, leaving only smoke. It's that jolt of adrenaline, a whisper that disappears with the wind. Lasting happiness, on the other hand, is like the warmth of a fire on a cold night, constant, fueled gradually. The fleeting kind arrives like a lightning bolt illuminating the sky for an instant. The lasting kind is the moon, quiet, accompanying us through the night. Fleeting happiness is the thrill of a quick victory, intense but passing. Lasting happiness is the satisfaction of a life lived with purpose, a river flowing steadily. Fleeting happiness can be as sweet as a freshly cut fruit, while lasting happiness is like aged wine, matured with patience. One is the flash, the other is the sun that never stops shining. Happiness is like a garden, and its deep roots are nourished by various elements. Relationships are the fertile soil. These connections support and enrich, each genuine bond being like a tree offering shade and refuge on hot days. Health is the clear water that nourishes every corner. Without it, everything becomes fragile, and colors lose their intensity. Caring for it is like watering that garden, allowing each cell to bloom. And purpose is the sunlight. It's what directs each branch toward the sky, an invisible energy guiding each leaf, each sprout. Without purpose, the garden loses direction, and although it's full of life, it lacks that something that gives it meaning. Relationships, health, and purpose. Together, they create balance, like a symphony where each instrument adds its tone, creating the harmony that is happiness. Happiness fades when we carry unnecessary baggage. Constant comparison is like a shadow that never disappears. It follows every step, making our own life seem insufficient. Grudges, like stones in our pockets, weigh us down, preventing us from moving forward lightly. Clinging to the past is like trying to sail with the anchor down. As we look back, we forget the horizon in front of us. The fear of making mistakes is a blindfold covering our eyes, showing only darkness. And criticism, whether of oneself or others, is a slow poison. By judging every little error, the path fills with thorns that prick each step. Lack of gratitude turns us into insatiable hunters, always seeking more, unable to see the treasures already in our hands. Living in pursuit of perfection is like building castles in the air. Every time we seem to reach it, it vanishes between our fingers. In this way, thoughts and behaviors intertwine, like an invisible net trapping us, blocking the space where happiness could freely grow. Living without seeking happiness is like walking through a desert without water. We move forward, but with each step, the burden grows heavier and the thirst for meaning deepens. Gradually, color fades, and days turn into a monotonous sequence, like withered leaves falling lifelessly from a tree. Without happiness, the soul becomes a dark, empty room where the echo of routine is the only remaining sound. Relationships lose their shine, like a river that stops flowing and becomes stagnant. Bonds weaken, lacking the warmth that once enlivened them. Dreams turn into distant memories, covered in dust, and time begins to weigh down, like an endless winter. Motivation fades, like ink in water, leaving only faint traces of what we once wanted. Purpose becomes a blurry shadow, and each goal loses meaning, turning into soulless tasks. Thus, living without seeking happiness turns us into spectators of our own story, caught in a never-changing spiral, while life's true color fades, waiting to be discovered. Each morning, as you open your eyes, it's as if the sun holds a promise waiting to be fulfilled. Taking a deep breath, savoring the fresh air, is like the first sip of life, like a river flowing and cleansing everything in its path. Sometimes, just a small moment of silence, a pause to feel the beat of your own existence, can make the day shine. The act of gratitude, so simple yet powerful, is like planting a seed each morning. As you give thanks, the soil of your heart becomes enriched, and that seed grows in the form of peace, gratitude, and joy. In each small gesture, like a hug or a smile, that inner garden is watered, allowing happiness to bloom. Movement, whether it's walking under the sky or dancing without music, is the soul's dance. Each step is like a note in a song only you can hear. By moving, the body aligns with the mind, releasing tension and making room for what truly matters. Connection, whether with others or with yourself, is the bridge linking worlds. Listening without judging, sharing without expectation, is an exchange that nourishes the soul. Every conversation becomes a stream connecting hearts, creating a flow of positive energy. And at the end of the day, before sleeping, gratitude again wraps you like a blanket, preparing you for rest. You know that, even if the day was hectic, there is always something to smile about. Practicing these small moments is like watering a garden. Day by day, little by little, what once seemed barren transforms into a landscape full of light and life. Self-care is the lighthouse guiding you through the storm. It's the moment you choose to anchor yourself, to stop struggling against the waves, and simply care for the vessel that is you. Taking time for yourself is like refueling, filling you with energy to continue the journey. Each deep breath is like the wind that fills the sails, steering you toward calm. Emotional well-being is like a garden that needs patient tending. If you allow the weeds of anxiety or stress to grow unchecked, the ground turns barren. But if you nourish your mind with positive thoughts and let emotions flow without fear of overflow, the garden thrives. Each small act of self-care, like taking a break or speaking with a friend, is like watering that garden, helping peace to grow. Neglecting self-care is like driving a car without brakes or direction. Stress becomes an engine that never stops, and the mind exhausts itself like a motor without oil. But when you care for yourself, the mind becomes a clear map, the body feels light, and the soul aligns. Thus, self-care is not a luxury but a necessity to keep walking steadily without losing your way. The importance of self-care doesn't lie in being perfect, but in recognizing that, just as a river needs to find its course, you need to find your balance. Only when you truly care for yourself can you give the best of yourself to the world. Setting meaningful goals is like mapping a route to a destination that resonates deep within. Each goal is a star in the night sky, a point of light guiding you when darkness seems to take over. Looking at that star, you know it's there, not just for the promise it holds at the end, but for the journey it invites you to undertake. Each step toward that goal is like building a bridge over a turbulent river. It may not always be easy, but every plank you lay brings you closer to the shore. It's not the destination that defines you, but the courage to build that bridge, to challenge the waters. Sometimes, the journey is more transformative than the goal itself, as you discover parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Meaningful goals are also like planting a tree. Initially, you may only see a tiny seed, but with dedication, patience, and consistent effort, it grows, extends, and its roots grip firmly into the ground. The daily commitment is what allows that tree to become strong and resilient, ready to bear fruit. Each day you invest in your goal is like watering that seed, believing in what it can become. When you set goals with purpose, you not only create a better future but awaken the energy and passion to achieve the impossible, knowing that every small effort brings you closer to the fullest version of yourself. Gratitude is like the first ray of sun touching the earth after a storm. You don't need much to feel it, just a moment, a deep breath. Focusing on what you have, rather than what you lack, fills the heart with light, like a river flowing clear, sweeping away the rocks of fear and dissatisfaction. It's a simple act, a gesture of appreciation for the everyday, but it has the power to transform the entire day. Mindfulness is like being fully present in a dance with the moment. Each breath is a note, each step a beat, and the world around you becomes a quiet melody. By centering yourself in the now, you let thoughts pass like clouds in the sky, not holding on to them, just observing from the safe place of your awareness. It's a practice that allows you to pause the chaos and, for a moment, savor calm. Meditation is the anchor that keeps you steady when the wind tries to knock you off course. Sitting in silence, closing your eyes, everything you perceive becomes a distant echo. By freeing the mind from rush and constant noise, the soul opens up like a field at dawn, quiet, vast, full of possibilities. Each thought that dissolves is like a leaf falling, leaving the tree lighter, clearer. Gratitude, mindfulness, and meditation, though different in form, weave together like rivers meeting and merging into the ocean of well-being. Each one, in its own way, invites you to return to yourself, to find peace amidst the world's noise, and to remember that true serenity is within you. Social media is like a distorted mirror, reflecting what we want to see but in a warped way. Each post is a perfect image, a piece of happiness that seems to shine brighter than ours, like a star moving further away as we try to reach it. We see smiles, flawless moments, lives that seem to flow effortlessly, and our own existence, with its ups and downs, feels dull in comparison. We connect to these platforms as if diving into a sea, but instead of clear water, we're swept by waves of comparison. Each like is like a spark of validation, a flash of light that makes us feel good for a second, but it quickly fades, leaving a sense of emptiness, like a candle burning down. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking happiness is in the perfect image, the dream trip, the life that seems effortless. But as we navigate this virtual ocean, we forget that behind each photo, there are moments of struggle, uncertainty, and doubt. Social media sells us an idea of happiness that is fleeting, like a rainbow disappearing before we can reach it. What we don't see, what isn't posted, is what truly builds happiness. It's not the shiny images or edited lives, but the real moments, the sincere conversations, the shared laughter. Happiness isn't in the distorted reflection of social media, but in authentic connection with who we are, what we feel, and what truly matters. Sometimes, disconnecting from that reflection is what allows us to see the real light within ourselves. A positive environment is like a well-tended garden, where the seeds of kindness and support grow strong. Each kind word is like water nourishing the soul, and each selfless action is like sunlight that allows hope to bloom. In this space, the roots of happiness spread firmly, creating fertile ground for dreams to grow. When you surround yourself with people who lift you, who understand you without needing explanations, the air feels cleaner, lighter. They are like lush trees that give you shade when the world's heat becomes overwhelming. An environment like this gives you the strength to face storms, knowing you have a refuge to return to. Creating this space is not only about caring for others, but also for yourself. It's like building a bridge where each brick is an act of self-care, and every step brings you closer to peace. The key is surrounding yourself with what makes you feel safe, valued, and heard. It's not just a physical space, but also an emotional one where trust and understanding breathe freely. In this supportive space, fears lose their strength, because you know you are not alone. Challenges become more manageable, like a river flowing smoothly among stones. Here, happiness is not a distant goal but a constant, like soil that always yields fruit when tended with love and care. We have traveled a long path, like navigators seeking a distant horizon, only to realize that happiness is not a place but the compass we always carry within. In the end, happiness is like the wind, invisible but present, pushing you forward, guiding you even when unseen. And although the journey may have its storms, remember that there's always a safe harbor to return to. Now that you have walked this stretch with me, if something resonated in your soul, If something made you see things differently, let it shine. Like it, as if it were a spark lighting another candle on this shared journey. And if you still want to keep exploring, to keep seeking that horizon together, subscribe. Because each step, each conversation, brings us closer to that place of peace, to that corner where happiness feels like the sun at dawn, warm and hopeful. For now, I leave you with the echo of this journey and invite you to keep walking. Because the best of life, like happiness, is always in motion, and there's always more to discover.